Okay. So I apologize there. I did not record. It's recording now.
We corroborated in our April meeting the March vote. And the March vote was unanimous, and it was a unanimous vote against. And it was as much based on one of our new residents who's been in Lakewood, almost adjacent to the store for roughly 9 to 10 weeks. And she came into the Zoom room not knowing or seeing anyone, and just came in crying for her life and her existence because she felt like she'd moved into the wild, wild west. And she based it on going into the store and there being someone just dealing willy-nilly drugs. And the question asked to Mr. Saeed to respond to her, the response was he had to keep his workers safe, which almost for many of us was an admission that maybe that he recognized that behavior was going on. So the thrust of it is the community. We really feel that Mr. Khan put all of his heart in trying to convince us that he really will try to find new direction, but it, they've been in control of it for roughly 18 to 24 months right after a closure. The history is it was closed based on 4 agencies shutting it down. But they've been in possession of it for that 18 to 24-month period. And as said earlier, nothing has changed. It's not personal at all, Mr. Khan. It's just about, we don't feel like nothing has really changed. So essentially the vote is 13 members, voting members who were not in favor, and that was unanimous.
Thank you. I would like to give
Should I respond to
Mr.
it?
Yeah, thank you. I would like you to respond to it.
Okay,
Thank
just no, I don't want to get involved with any argument. Just to make a couple of comments, quick comments. Yeah, that area is heavily infected with juvenile gang activities, and we know, what serious problem city of Atlanta dealing with that. So what I can offer, armed security, even though business is not doing well at this point. And initially we offered, then we'll hire off-duty police officers at the location after we get the alcohol license to avoid any kind of nuisance or any kind of illegal activity in the premises. But what we can do, I can start immediately off-duty police officer or armed security. That's one thing I can offer. And the second, to respond to Ms. Gloria, that quote unquote, Sadi said, we have to keep our employees safe. That's a whole conversation. Just one sentence was taken out of the context because activity was there. Our employee and his employee called the police time to time, but because of the juvenile gang activity, all the 13, 14 years young kids, they carry guns. And employees time to time, they get scared because they show guns to them. They call police, and also they have to make sure they are safe because we don't want our employee to get shot or killed in the location or in the business. So this is what I want to respond to, but this is also a policing matter as well. But we'll support and will help any way possible to clean that area. And I have experienced this kind of experience before. I have 7 properties in city of Atlanta, and I'm doing business in city of Atlanta. This year is running 26 years. Thank you.
Thank you. One question you did mention about this letter of understanding or memorandum of understanding. Are you still, and you say you're open to that?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna close it out. Well, just to mention before Bernard, I'm gonna bring you to the floor. Go ahead, Bernard. After you, I'm gonna close it out. Bernard.
Thank you, Dr. Nunley.
Okay.
I just would like to say to the gentleman, to the business owner, as I'm not a Lakewood neighbor, I'm more of a Joyland High Point neighbor, specifically Joyland, and I would like to see you try to do that without getting the alcohol license. and earning that alcohol license with what you are willing to offer with the armed security and the off-duty officer for a period of time as a measurement and just a way to start so we can get to the right direction and move forward and do it together, because we all want the same thing, and that's peace for our neighborhood and a safe neighborhood and a neighborhood where we feel like we can walk to the store and not feel threatened or not feel the need to even have the gun for protection. So I think it's possible. I appreciate your support and what you're trying to do as a business owner and an entrepreneur. And we appreciate that because we need people like you to partner with us. And that's all we're asking for. Thank you for my time, Dr. Nunley.
Thank you. Nikki, briefly.
Yes, he's been the owner of that property since they lost the liquor license, and nothing has changed. He's making all these promises if he gets his liquor license, but he's done nothing to make those changes before then to show really good faith. So I don't think that anything's going to change. And I don't believe him. You know, we've heard this all before, the police security guard, the armed security guard. We've heard this before. And even while the Lakewood Heights meeting was going on, there were incidences happening and no reaction. No reaction whatsoever. No, let me call the police. No, let me do anything. There was a shooting and a carjacking that very morning. So we talk about it during the meeting and no reaction. And so I firmly deny his license.
Thank you.
Dr.
Mr. Kine, I'm gonna give you one more opportunity to respond because I did allow for multiple people. So
Yes, I became landlord earlier this year, January of this year. And my tenant, Sadi Ahmed, he took over the business, I think, late 2018, after the business was shut down for previous incident or accident. Yes, I very much agree with the concern that that area is a difficult area. But yes, Sadi did not, he could not took any action because lack of funding. So when I came in board January of this year, so I have a lot of experience, as I said. I worked with Ms. Felisa Moore before in Bankhead Highway area and the Boyne Home area to clean up those areas with the local ABC, the committees, which is alcohol, baby, and cleanliness committees back 90s. And I do have experience, but I need to get involved with the community, with the police department. And as I said, I can start the security immediately, which is within a week. And I'll invest my money, more money, to make sure the property is secured and it's a safe place to come in and have their needs from the local convenience store, as it should be. But my argument, what my plea is that I want the neighborhood and the community to accept me as a part of the community. And but I do have, some offering. So what I need to, offer and get involved and work together to clean up the area with the police and the community and all together to achieve the common goals. And because I have the same goals what you have. So if we combine, it will be more strength to do it together. Thank you.
thank you.
One last little.
We're gonna, no, Gloria, you gotta use right hand feature. We have a couple of folks before you. There's Omar. So Omar, go ahead. Sorry, Gloria.
Mr. Khan, we as developers, we owe it to the community to get involved at the very beginning and not get involved when we want something for the community. I feel your approach is coming to us at the very last minute because you need something instead of being involved from the very beginning. And in regards to your comment with crime, I too faced the same issues, but my approach was totally different from yours. I tried to resolve the issues with the community and coming up with a solution with things that's needed in the community. So just stating crime is an issue is unacceptable as developers. We owe it to the community to do what's right for the community. So I support the community wholeheartedly with this, that you should not have your liquor license until you prove to the community that you're deemed worthy of it.
Awesome.
I become the landlord just January of this year.
Thank you. And one more thing, just to kind of give before we make a vote. In order to, for LRB, it's a little tricky until we get the LRB reformed. So with LRB, we have to provide what is called due cause. That is testimony, this witness testimony, proven written documents, so forth, to present to the LRB committee to prove that they are not worthy of getting the liquor license. So one thing that we'll have to do as a community in the case of a rejection is to be present, as well as provide documentation, proven documentation, which may be available to the LRB hearing. So that's one thing to mention. But with that being said, we at the limit. So is it possible to go ahead, Gloria, is it possible to go ahead and solicit a motion? I know you have your hand raised.
Dr. Nunley, I just think this is very important. Mr. Khan is being a bit disingenuous, although he is saying since the beginning of the year, he has been the landlord. Mr. Khan, in February of March of 2020, we were all called into the CID office at 215 Lakewood Way. Myself as chair, Randy Veal as vice chair. Can you tell this group why we were all called in? What was the purpose that Lieutenant Baldini, and I think that will answer for folks.
Yes, because at that point I was an investor with the Sadi. Sadi, he's a very young and energetic gentleman. He wanted to learn business and want to start his business. So he borrowed money from me. So I gave him money to start his business. So I have my financial interest, and I helped him since get-go to start and open up the business because he did not do nothing, and also he did not have a lot of technical connections, which is the technical people, maintenance, and all this. So I helped him. So and because he was very new to the area, so at that time, so I represented his business. But officially, I become landlord this year. But again, Miss Gloria, and with all the community leaders and members, I request you to take me as a part of you, and just let's work together to do what need to be done in the area, and just go move forward with achieve the common goals.
Thank you. So I'd like to solicit a motion. I think we've had a good discussion.
Rebecca Robinson.
Motion to deny by Rebecca Robinson. Is there a second?
I seconded.
Who was the person second that? I called James first. Motion by Rebecca, seconded by James. Those who are in favor for denial, that is rejection, please raise your hand. Use the raise hand feature at this time. You have to be a voting member, have to have attended 3. This will be your 3rd meeting out of the last 12 calendar months. That includes both residents and business constituents. So if you're a resident or you are a business constituent and you represent the business, there's only one representative for each business, by the way. Then use the raise hand feature at this time.
Mr. Chair, I just want to make sure we annotate the folks in the chat. I see 1 yes, and I believe yes in favor of the motion.
So thank you.
Yes.
So we have a yes from Alera and
A yes from Tina.
Nikki and Tina. Okay, thank
Tina.
you. Appreciate it for showing the camera to Tina. Awesome. James or Aaron, what do we have?
So, Mr. Chair, we have 16 officially participants and then 2 no's registered in the chat, 1 from Alara and the second coming from Tina.
I see 17.
Actually, we just changed. So we're gonna freeze it. 17 participants and then 2 in the chat for a total of 19 against.
19 against.
I'm
We-
confused. Were we voting yes? Were we voting no? Were we voting
We-
abstain? It
the
just
mo-
went to, everybody went to vote.
Yes, the motion on the floor was to reject. That was motion by Rebecca to reject the LRB. Motion by Rebecca, seconded by James.
So I think, Mr. Chair, the question from the chat is the yes in support of the motion?
Yes, we're
to-
I haven't denied it yet. I haven't I haven't made the request to do a no yet or abstain. So the motion, inside of the chat, they'll support the motion to reject.
That's correct. That'll give us a total of 19, Mr. Chair.
All right. Moving forward, we're going to do a motion. Let me go ahead and clear the chat here. Go ahead and clear. Yep, got it. Those who are in favor or support the LRB, please raise your hand at this time. So the motion is actually to deny the rejection. Double negative there.
Dr. Nunley, I just want to add that the business constituent who are the applicants are also eligible to vote. I think that should be made known.
You have to be a voting member, so if they haven't attended. Oh, I guess they sent in the last meeting and not sure if they attended February. Yeah, so applicant, if you have attended 3 meetings out of the last 12 months, you are eligible to vote. If you have attended 3 meetings out of the last 12 months. All right, we have 0. Is there any abstentions? Please raise your hand at this time. James. That's your
I
time.
got 2 abstentions, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
1702.
Awesome. 1702.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
I'm
That-
sorry, I got 19. I thought it was 17 plus the 2 in the chat for 19.
Correct.
That is
Correct. 1902. That is correct. 1902. 1902.
that's right.
Thank you for keeping me honest, Alara.
Always.
All right, with that being said, the motion carries to reject. So I would like to, I would talk offline to Lakewood to help craft the supporting documents for due cause.
Thank you, Dr. Nunley.
Moving forward, we're going to Z2112. We would like the applicant to speak at this time for Z2111 and 12. This is the AHA development.
This is Paul McMurray.
Paulette did, oh, go ahead, Paul.
No, I'm just trying to say is that we ended up deferring this action at the Joseph Park meeting. We took no vote on it. And we expect no one from Atlanta Housing to be here to speak. And there's really no reason for them to speak anyway, because we have not voted on it at the CPNA meeting. This goes for both these zoning applications and the CDP ordinances that follow.
Thank you, Paul. It seems like a voluntary deferral, but
Well,
in
Jacob
order for it
Mills
to
is
be-
here. He can verify that. He's the president.
So is the applicant here? So so they can be able to do the voluntary deferral?
I think they sort of assumed that we would pass that information on to you, and
Since
Yes,
the
that is
applicant,
correct.
that's correct. Thank you. So we do not have to
That
put
is,
it.
this is Suzanne. I can witness that. Paul is exactly correct.
Okay, since the applicant is not here and we defer, we're going to move forward and
It's
typically,
deferral by consent of parties.
yeah,
The
yeah,
language, deferral by consent of the parties.
correct.
So they all, yeah.
Because usually in deferral by consent, we will have to get deferral from the applicant. However, since they're not here, we're going to assume that is deferral. Is that okay, Aaron and Jordan?
Works for me.
Awesome.
And I'm sorry, can you read, what was the question?
So the parties are not here to present for, they assume deferral, we suppose. I didn't get any documentation from them to say it was a deferral. So, but they're not here and chose what deferred it anyway. If they were to reject the deferral, then we would have to put a vote to defer. But I think in this case, we won't have to vote, right? We can just move on with voluntary deferral or deferral by consent. Or do we need to vote to defer?
I would recommend that you vote to defer just to be safe.
I'd like to solicit a motion to
right.
vote to defer.
Yeah.
Motion to defer, Rebecca Robinson.
Dr. Nunley, one question. Are
Can I
they
get a
already
sec-
on a ZRB calendar? Are they on a ZRB calendar? I think that controls.
well, I mean, if we don't hear it, they can't move
Yeah.
it forward.
Correct.
I'm sorry, this is Jacob. I was under the impression that Nicole Wesley Smith had reached out to you guys. I'm assuming obviously that she didn't, but yes, they are wishing to defer this until next month.
Okay.
Jesuit Park and then NPU-Y.
Thank you.
Second, James.
Second by James. Please use the raise hand feature. I apologize, Jacob. I haven't got the document from the NPU from them, so we'll have to vote to defer, which it should be.
I would add that there's 2 CDP amendments that are
Okay,
following this.
so can I amend my motion to include
Okay, motion to,
Z2111 and Z2112?
and as
Yeah,
well,
that's those 2, but there's also some CDP amendments associated with it. If you know, these.
That's not the vote.
where is that? Is it a motion to amend? You motioning to amend?
Well, it's just that we might as well include the CDP part too, because we're gonna come down to that in the CDP. The CDPs, there's one below the one you're highlighting. Okay, these are associated with those two zoning actions. So we got to wrap them all together so we don't.
So I'd like to solicit a motion to amend.
Okay, a motion to amend my previous motion to include Z-21-11, Z-21-21-12, and all associated CDP amendments.
Second.
That's 15 and 16. Okay.
15 and 16.
We have a second.
All right, motion by was it Rebecca? I missed it.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, seconded by Gloria.
Yes.
Please raise your hand right now if you wish to amend. If you wish to amend, please raise your hand right now. Use the raise hand feature.
What does that mean? That we agree with whatever Paul said? Is that what it means?
Yes, we agree with Paul said to amend the motion to include both the zoning ZRB 11 and 12, as well as the CDP items. I don't know the numbers, but it's at the bottom.
We have
This is a motion to amend. 10, in order to vote, you have to be a member of NPU-Y, meaning that you have attended 3 out of the last 12 calendar months.
So Dr. Nunley, we're amending the
So-
original motion to.
Correct. We're gonna do a secondary motion once if it's approved. Correct.
So we're amending the original motion to defer, and we're amending that original motion by adding the CDP component. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, so we have 11.
Up.
Is
Yep.
there any
12.
12? We have 12. Is there any, I'm gonna go ahead and close it out and be clear. Is there anybody who wish to not amend and continue with the previous motion? Okay, we have one. Is there anybody who wish to defer? Not defer, abstain, excuse me, who wish to abstain the amendment? One. 10-1-1, motion carries to amend. We're gonna put the motion, the amended motion on the floor for a vote. Let me clear out everybody. So the motion is now to include 11 Z 2111, Z 2112, and the you scroll down, James, briefly. CDB 2115 and CDP 2116. So those are all motion to defer as a group. For those who wish to defer, please raise your hand at this time. Use the raise hand feature.
That's supporting Chosewood. That's what we're saying.
Correct.
Dr. Nunley, just for, as parliamentarian, just for correction, I believe when we amended the original motion, it was just one vote on the entirety, because then the original motion became amended or new, so to speak, by incorporating the CDP. So it was just one vote on the entire process at that point.
Okay, we'll talk about that offline. That's probably, it may be right, but I'm not sure. 14.
And
one in the chat,
Yeah.
Lara. So
So
15.
15.
I'm clearing. 15. Those who are, Jacob, I just saw you re-raised the hand.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Okay, I'm about to clear. What's wrong here? For some reason, your hands are just being raised automatically. Suzanne, you'll lower your hand?
I apologize. I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to lower my hand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was voting and I thought you were moving to lowering hands for the next motion. So are we still voting? Do we still need to raise our hands? Have we been counted?
Yes. So now is the motion to not defer. This is actually, so we
I
already
just
deferred.
lowered this thing. Can you lower the hands? I don't know.
Everybody's hands is lowered.
Okay, good.
Motion, is there any abstentions? Is there any abstentions to this motion? All right, so motion carries to defer. That was actually a formality. Because the applicant is not here.
One abstention, I see.
Oh, one abstention. So now motion carries 15-01. 15-01. Moving forward. That knocked out quite a bit of items off the list. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, moving forward to Z 2127. Is there a representative to speak on this behalf? I think there was.
That looks like a city ordinance, like a general ordinance put forth by the planning department.
Can anybody speak to what it's about?
Aaron, did you have a chance to read up on this one? If not, I can see what I can do.
Take it away.
Okay, can you open, yeah, let's open that fact sheet. So it's, yeah, it's an administrative, I'm not gonna be the best at explaining it. I haven't read up on this in a minute. But it allows the staff of Office of Zoning and Development, so those are the planning folks, to reduce the required setback on property administratively in order to preserve trees. And that would mean that as opposed to it going through a variance process just for tree purposes, that the staff could do it administratively without having to go before the Board of Zoning Adjustment.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that. Which staff doesn't have to go through permissions for variance?
This would be the planning staff, so Department of City planning staff who review site plans, do everything with regard to developments and rezonings. They would be able to reduce the setback on property administratively if it's to preserve trees. So that an applicant wouldn't have to go to the Board of Zoning Adjustment in order to comply with the tree protection ordinance. It's a very technical issue that I'm not super familiar with, but that is the gist of it.
Awesome, thank you. Is there any other questions for the benefit of the body?
Dr. No, it's just an FYI.
Oh.
Is it
Yep.
just an FYI?
Oh, is it just?
It's a voting,
No, it
it's
is
voting.
intended for a vote. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
So sorry, I don't have a better explanation than that for you, but
Sorry, is it or is
So-
it not for?
It is for a
it
vote.
is.
I had a question, Jordan, towards this. Will we get notified as NPU, or is just they? will-
My understanding is no, there wouldn't be.
You know what? This is what I get very nervous about. We get these statements from the city, or whoever, and they want us to vote. We don't understand. Nobody's here to explain it. Nobody's clear about it. And for all I know, we're giving up control on something we regret. I mean, it makes me crazy that I vote on stuff that I don't have details on or don't understand the impact or how long and then why. And sure, they're saying trees, but what else are they saying is an exception? My comment, sorry.
6th and 13th is a public hearing.
Dr. Nunny, my hand's raised, please, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
So with that being said, that's a lot of merit to what she's saying. Yeah, it's a lot of merit to, so how do we react if we haven't had adequate notice to be able to even discuss or put in committee?
So they sent out the agenda. So we did share the agenda, but okay, we'll work. That's something that we'll need to work on as an NPU. So I will actually jot that down and see what we can do to make sure that everybody is informed. That's actually one of the pillars of what we're trying to do this year.
Yeah, that the city gets into the habit of making sure they document and they come and explain what they're doing. I mean, it's not like, I mean, what are we, chattel or, cattle? What are we? Come and tell us what's going on.
I think the argument legally is adequate notice in order for the vote to be informed. Anything less than that is exactly what Suzanne is saying.
So the NPU structure, was aware of the textual amendment when Daniel submitted it to us for review. So we did discuss it during our executive board meeting. But, and then we also share the meeting agendas ahead of time before the meeting, but we will need to sit down as executive board. I think that'd be conversation offline where we make sure that everybody's informed of the particular zoning ordinance. I think it's partly a responsibility of the city, but also a responsibility of ourselves too. So I'll put it as a thing to do, agenda item that I need to investigate further.
There appears to be a fact sheet. Could we look at it?
Yep.
There's a link for a fact sheet.
Well, that was just what our planner was telling us about.
But even 10-day notice is not necessarily adequate, Troy, for folks to vote on legislation. I mean, even if we had it at the executive committee time, 10 days out, it's still what she's arguing is with merit, that more time, because some things get slid under the rug and you go, well, what? When did we vote on that? Are you following the kind of?
I'm following. I'm just trying to weigh options here. Okay, so
Can we defer this?
Jordan, I see that they have a hearing on May the 8th, I believe, or 13th.
Right?
Is there a option to, since it's before our next general body meeting, is there an option to defer? Is this sent across citywide?
It is a citywide thing since it's a text amendment, so you could vote to defer, but I mean, it's probably gonna go for a vote anyway. So
Do your due diligence.
Okay. So I would like to solicit a motion.
I like the motion. You can motion?
Yeah, go ahead, motion.
I'd like to defer this motion.
Okay, so it's a deferral by Nikki, a motion to defer by Nikki. Is there a second?
Tina?
Seconded by Tina,
Yep,
Tina Arnold.
that's me.
All right, we're gonna put it before a vote, and then we're just gonna put this back on the agenda, even though there's a likelihood it may be after the hearing. We're still gonna put it after the on the agenda. The motion is to put it on the agenda for May, and that gives us enough time to review. So raise your hand at this time. I'm a lower your hands. Let me lower your hand. If you, all right. So if you are in favor of deferral, please raise your hand at this time.
Did I just raise my hand?
I don't know. what
Yeah, I raised.
In part,
In order to be a voting member, you must have attended 3 out of the last 12 calendar months. This will be your third meeting.
You can add Tina's vote.
11. And Tina, are you?
Yes.
Gotcha, thank you.
Thank
So we
you.
have 12, including Tina. I am going to clear. All right, everybody has been cleared. If you wish to deny the motion to defer, please raise your hand at this time.
No hands raised.
All right, no hands raised, as mentioned by Nikki.
Whoops.
If you wish to abstain,
Never know.
I knew
please
it.
raise your hand at this time.
Oh, shit. I'm out of this thing again. I'll back to meeting.
You messing up again?
No.
So motion carries. What's the number, James? Or Alera?
I believe it's 1200. James, you
Two.
there to back me up?
1202.
1202, thank you.
Yes.
All right, motion to defer 1202. So we will look at this in the next meeting.
Mr. Chair,
no vote going forward on this before we get to meet. Is that correct? Citywide, no citywide vote on this.
The public hearing it says public hearing May the 6th or 13th, which is before our, so that's why I wanted to make that clear.
So it's a moot point then, isn't it?
I mean, it's citywide, so.
Who says other communities didn't say the same thing?
Yeah, what if other communities have also voted to defer?
You don't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, so if it has an overwhelming motion to defer with other communities, other MPUs, then it may,
Not so much.
they
that
may
they're-
just allow it to defer in the city council chambers. Well, and moving forward, let's go ahead and, because we have quite a bit, still have some time left. Atlanta Design Awards. Is there a motion? So the Design Awards is a place where you can ask members of the community to win a specific award for being just exemplary business, and we can solicit motions from the floor. And this time is that solicit for motions from the floor on behalf of the NPU, then we'll put it for a vote. Is there
Okay,
any motions for the floor for the City Design Awards?
Yes, I would like to nominate Ali at Lakewood, 1800 Jonesboro Road. That specific building is in Lakewood Heights. They have provided over 60 jobs within the building, ranging from a spa, chiropractor, acupuncture, counselors, yoga studios, just to name a few. They also, it's coming soon, there will be a restaurant and a coffee shop within the building. There is an event space there that is providing a place to gather on the south side of Atlanta. They have also started up food truck Sundays, where not only does the immediate community, but other surrounding areas, they come, they enjoy different cuisines, from Jamaican food to vegan food to water ice. You can funnel cake, you can get whatever you want, egg rolls. And then they are also a part of the development for the area is building affordable new constructed homes. So I would like to nominate Ali at Lakewood, 1800 Jonesboro Road, for enhancing our community.
Second that.
So.
Second.
Tina, second.
Second.
All right, we got 3 seconds, one motion. All right, so we have motion by Lara, seconded by Gloria.
That's Tina.
I would like to put that before, I'd like to put it before the floor for a vote. Is there anybody in support of this motion? Please raise your hand at this time. Oh, is there any nominations, other nominations on the floor? Excuse me.
Well, Troy, if you don't mind, can you have Jordan chime in and just to set the basis for the criterion? I know we're nominating, but I think there is one of the terms I keep hearing is transformative. And so Jordan will just chime in and give us
Jordan, briefly.
They brought in some great neighbors so far.
Jordan or Aaron?
Can we have more than one? Oh, yeah.
I think Jordan had to jump. So could you repeat the question, please?
She just want a brief overview from a city planner of the design awards and criteria. She think one of the words is transformative.
Transformative, yes, that's exactly right.
Are we able to nominate more than one group from the neighborhood or from the NPU?
So working.
It's only could be one. Only could be one.
Oh, only one.
Okay. No, I don't think that's accurate. I think that
that is the on the screenshot is the second from last sentence.
It's one nomination per NPU.
Per NPU, where's that? Okay.
It's the third from the last sentence.
There can only be one.
Okay. Okay.
So is there any other motions that we will have to?
Well, I ain't gonna confuse the issue. I was gonna say that Harris, but their own people have been nominated.
All right, with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and solicit go ahead and put it for a vote to nominate Lakewood Ali. I think Omar.
Motion to approve.
Second. I think it's already.
Yeah, it's already motion.
Already been motioned and approved.
So please use your raised hand at this time to make that nomination from the floor. and we will correspond with the Lakewood community in order, if approved, we'll correspond with the Lakewood community to draft.
No, that's not true what was just said. There can only be one winner, but we can submit as many as we want. There can only be one community design winner from each NPU, regardless of the number of nominations. So you can have more than many nominations, you only have one winner. That's what that language is. It
is, but
just,
let's go, we're gonna move forward with this motion, and then I'll solicit the secondary motion. So we have 12.
That is correct. 12 and 1 in the chat, Mr. Chair. 13, yes.
13 and 1 in the chat. There's 14.
So 14 total. That's it. The vote is closed.
Vote is closed. We are going to move forward. Is there any folks who would not like to nominate Lakewood at Ali at Lakewood? Lakewood at Ali. Y'all know what I'm saying. Any denial of this motion? All right, 0, 14, 0. Is there any abstentions? Is there any abstentions? We have
one abstention.
One abstention. And I see Omar is on the line. Did he vote for, or did he abstain? I think
I did not vote. I didn't know if I could vote from home.
Well, I prefer you not to, because it would be a conflict of interest. Yeah.
Okay.
So we have 14-0-0. 14-0-0, motion carries. Congratulations.
14-0-1, Mr. Chair. There was one abstention.
My apologies. Keep me
No worries.
14-0-1. 14-0-1. Motion carries. Is there any other motions from the floor, or any other nominations? Gloria was correct, and in the language it did say there's only one winner from each NPU, but there can be multiple nominations. Aaron, is that correct? Can you have multiple nominations, but just one winner? There's no language to say how many nominations.
Sorry, I lost my mute button. To be safe, if anyone does have any other nominations, I would rather capture them now versus saying that no, there can't be any, and then we've lost those at this point.
Okay. So is there any other nominations?
Bernard Irvin has his hand raised, Mr. Chair.
Hey, Bernard. Oh, I think he was from the last.
Well, I don't know.
We didn't lower his hand, I believe.
Oh no, I did want to nominate the JR Crickets also. Right there at Lakewood by South Bend.
Okay.
Dr. Null, I just want to remind that there's narratives that go along with each of these. It's a packet or form to be completed. So in that nomination process, the persuasiveness is outlining why this business, this design has become transformative. So I just want folks to know, in the nomination process, they need to be ready to provide the narrative that will be persuasive.
Correct. So we will have to do a write-up for that nomination, essentially. So Bernard has nominated JR.
So do I need to submit that, or do I get with the business owner and submit that?
I will. Well, you will submit it, and we'll work closely with you to submit.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we will submit as NPU, but I'll work closely with you to submit on behalf of NPU.
Okay, thank you.
So is there a second for this motion? Or do we need any more discussion?
Well, I thought I heard some other suggestions, like I thought Tina, no.
Gloria,
No.
I'm gonna go ahead and put a second, because we'll do another motion on the floor for anything that if Tina needs to say anything.
Second for Bernard's recommendation of JR Crickets.
All right, second, if those who would like to include them as well, J.R. Crickets as well as a secondary nomination, please raise your hand at this time. So motion by Bernard, seconded by Glory.
Are we voting, sir?
Yeah, we're voting. We're voting. Those who are in favor of the J.R. Crickets being nominated as a nomination, please use the raise hand feature at this time. In order to be a voting member, you must have attended 3 out of the last 12 comments.
Can we
All right.
vote twice?
No, this
Can we
is
vote
this is a secondary vote. This is anybody can vote. Yeah. So
Okay,
the other
sorry.
vote has been closed. Events that Ali has been nominated. Now we're nominating J.R. Crickets. I'm going to close it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So we have 5.
That is correct, Mr. Chair, 5.
All right. We're currently nominating them for the Design Awards. NPU Voting on Community Design Awards. Those who are, I'm gonna go ahead and close 5. I'm gonna clear. All right, everything has been cleared. Those who are not in favor of nominating J.R. Crickets, please raise your hand at this time.
Mr. Chair, there's a question in the chat asking verbatim, what are we nominating for?
Yeah, that's why I repeated it. We're currently nominating it for the Design Awards. The Community Design Awards is where we recognize public spaces, events, organizations, art that makes the community a better place to live. So essentially what we'll have to do after we nominate various businesses is that we will have to create a narrative. Whoever made the nomination, we will work closely with them to create a narrative and explain why this place or building is such a, why they make our community a better place. So that's where we are. All right, so we have 2 that is against. So 5 through.
There's one in the chat.
Okay, we're gonna close it in. We're gonna close it in 5 seconds.
I'm not against.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
All right, please lower your hands. Those who abstain, please raise your hand at this time. Actually, let me lower everybody's hands. I just lowered everybody's hand. Go ahead and raise your hand now if you abstain.
I abstain. Abstain.
Tina, I heard Tina
Abstain.
abstain. Okay, thank you. Use the raise hand feature.
Excuse me, sorry.
All right. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, what's the count, James?
5, Mr. Chair.
So what's the overall count?
Alara.
So is that 5, 5, 5? That's what I got. 5, 5, 5.
All right, motion.
So what happens in a tie?
Motion, well, in order to, it has to be a majority.
No, under Robert's Rules of Order, the chair is the tiebreaker. Under Robert's Rules of Order, the chair becomes the tiebreaker.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
I don't feel comfortable. I don't know J.R. Crickets well enough to be able, for me as chairperson, to be able to make a decision. So
Wait, I didn't vote. What was, it was for JR Crickets?
J.R. Crickets to be considered a voting design, community design. So if I had to, well, we closed it out. Sorry.
Oh, oh, never mind.
If I had to make a vote, I would deny. I'm gonna explain why. It's because they're not a voting member. They haven't attended a single NPU meeting that I know of in the past 5 years I've been attending. And I firmly believe if you are trying to make the community a better place to live, then you will be participating in community-like functions. So in my eyes, if I had to make a decision, I would deny.
So, Mr. Vice President, where are we?
So moving, I guess that if that is, I thought it was a majority, so it'd be denied anyway if it was a majority. So we're gonna move forward. Is there any other nominations? I hate to deny. Makes me feel so bad. Is there any other nominations? I see one with Project South. Is there a second? Is there a is there a motion from the floor on Project South, or shall we move forward?
Are you saying Park Place South or
Project South? So Project South is,
Is Bay here? She's the one who put it in the chat. Would she like to tell us what Project South is?
Project South is a social justice organization. It is the building that is across from Carver High School. We're the organization who has been responsible for posting signs recently around the Blue House, around its historic nature in the neighborhood. They've been providing COVID testing and food during this COVID season. They've been providing food to the community for as many years as I've been with them. Is there anything else that you would like to know?
that's good.
Second, Rebecca Robinson.
Thank you.
Second by Rebecca Robinson. So let's put it as a vote onto the floor. Is there any, I would like to see, so this is a motion to approve. So please vote, use the raise hand feature right now in order to approve Project South to be nominated from the floor for the Community Design Awards.
You can add Tina to the vote.
Tina is added to that vote. So we have 6. I'm gonna go ahead and lower. Well, wait, it just added another one. Okay, we're gonna close it out here. So we have 7. Close it out here, we have 7. I'm lowering hands. Those who are not in favor of Project South, please raise your hand at this time for Project South to be nominated as a Community Design Award. Zero. Those who abstain, raise your hand at this time.
One.
701, motion carries, and Project South do attend the NP meetings. So that is great. All right. Moving forward, so we have 2 nominations. We'll need to work closely with both the I guess Lakewood community and South Atlanta Project South community so that we can be able to submit narratives to the city. So let me put your information or send your information to Alara, and then we'll get back with you to see if we can put together, get the nominations crafted and sent out to the city.
Send it to who?
Dr. Nunley, there is a challenge coming without anonymously to your statement verifying that Project South participates in meetings, an anonymous challenge?
Well,
Project South has participated in meetings.
correct. And I've personally met people from Project South in NPU meetings. That's how I became aware with Project South.
It's not
But I don't know if they do it regularly. I think that's the challenge, is do they attend meetings regularly? But they do attend meetings.
Mr. Chair.
But the motion is already carried. So unless we do a motion to rescind, then we will continue forward. And I mentioned that statement after the motion, so I didn't affect the vote in any way.
So, Mr. Chair, quick question.
Yep. Question, Chris, or was it James?
James, sorry, I didn't raise
James,
my.
go ahead. No worries. Go ahead.
Considering we can only have one, would that essentially mean that the one with the most overwhelming votes win?
I would like to say so. So if in the case where we only can submit one, the city comes back to us and say, hey, you only can submit one winner per NPU or one award per NPU, then I agree with James that we'll probably need to go with the overwhelming majority.
No, we don't have that right. Under this, the way it's written here, it says that regardless of the number of nominations, which makes it very clear there can be more than one nomination, but although only one winner per NPU. So this statement alone makes it clear that you can have as many nominations as you choose, but there will only be one winner selected.
Right. And so with that, my question was, since Ali received 14 versus 7 yeses for the other, would that automatically make Ali the winner?
No, because the city design committee is the one that is responsible for making the selection.
Well, as far as for the nomination from our NPU, yes.
Correct. So we're going to do 2 nominations from the NPU to the city.
I'd like to
Go ahead, Nikki.
I'd like to make a motion that we vote on the one of the 2 to represent the NPU-Y.
So there's a motion to vote on one of the 2.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So that means
maybe I should rephrase it.
Hold on, Nikki will speak from the floor. Go ahead, Nikki.
I just want to rephrase. I put a motion that we select the one with the most votes to represent.
So this is a motion to out of the majority votes with the community's eyes to select the one with the highest motion out of the 2. So we, as an NPU, we were seeing 1 instead of 2.
Right.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. Excuse me, Mr. Chair. This is Bernard. If I understood, I thought the representative from the city said we could pick 2, and she would get back to us on whether or not we could submit 2, and if there was 1, then we would have to go with the 1. Am I mistaken?
So that is correct. That's what she said. However, and this is discussion. So if you feel that way, then yeah, thank you for communicating it. Since it's a motion, if we get a second, we can overwrite that. So we can say, hey, instead of submitting 2, we choose as an NPU to submit only 1, even though we can submit 2. If that makes sense.
Could I just get a clarification? Who are the 2 nominees again? And they're representing the NPU and what? I'm sorry, something came up. I wasn't listening to everything. I apologize.
So right now we're still in design awards, design awards. I'm sorry, it's 9 o'clock. I'm gonna have to get a motion to extend. meeting, but
Motion
we're gonna do it after this. Okay, let me get a motion to extend first.
Motion
Sorry, we
to-
already had a
motion
motion to extend by
by
Gloria.
by 15 minutes.
We may need a little bit more than 15.
15.
Okay, we'll do 15, then we'll do another motion if we extend that. If is there a second for the motion to extend by 15?
Second. Second, Bernard.
Seconded by Bernard. All in favor, just all that are opposed to that. Raise your hand at this time. Opposed to extending 15 minutes. I was opposed.
Okay.
All right, I was hoping that it would be 0. All right, those who are in favor, I'm gonna lower hand. Those who are in favor, raise your hand this time. Those who are in favor, raise your hand this time.
Oh, shoot, I lost it. I lost my Zoom.
All right, motion carries.
But we can hear you, Nikki. So if you
Okay,
want,
I'm back. I keep trying to do this from my phone. I apologize.
So the motion is 6-1. Is there any abstentions? 7-1. Is there any abstentions? Raise your hand at this time. 7-1-1. All right, moving forward. So we're in discussion of, and excuse me for interrupting the discussion. We're in discussion about a motion to just choose one out of the two instead of doing both.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair. If we are not in favor, just for point of clarification, we're not in favor of just one. We want to submit both of them. We would just vote no. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So in the case where, and we haven't got a second yet, but in the case where it seconded it, well, we did get a second. I think Rebecca seconded it. In the case where I think it's Alara, sorry. It was motioned by Nikki, seconded by Alara. So in a case where you want to just submit both, you will vote no to this motion. If you want to just say, hey, let's just choose one, we may have a better chance if we just, I'm not sure what the rationale is, but if you want to submit one on behalf of the NPU, just to say, hey, we want to craft a strong narrative and focus in, or whatever the reason is, then you will vote yes to this motion. Or you can say, or if you vote no, it's 2, where, hey, we want to have the best optimal chance of saying 2. I'm just kind of giving some reason here of both.
Just a clarification. Who are the 2 people in the running, please?
Omar, Lakewoods at Ali. Lakewoods at Ali, 1800.
Lakewood.
1800 Jonesboro Road.
1800 Jonesboro Road. And then we also have Project South, who sits in South Atlanta across from Carver High School.
Right.
We have Anifa.
Yeah, my question is if the application process doesn't limit the number of nominees and you only have 2, I would like to hear why you would limit them.
Is there anybody who would like to speak to that?
Because it's unclear as to which is which.
I agree with Ms. Bay that the logic is spurious. Throw as many hats in the ring because we're not going to be the one that decide. Each NPU will receive an award. It is 26 of them. Each will receive, and let them decide amongst them. As much as my desire and my love for the Ali events, I would vote absolutely. However, again, the logic is spurious to cast some out when in fact the decision makers downrange are the ones that will decide which of those projects should be a winner.
All right, is there anybody else who would like to, please use the raise hand feature. Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
Yeah. Can you see me or hear me?
Yep. Hey, Tina. Yep. we can hear you.
Right. Because with all the discussion going back and forth, we can't figure out whether or not they're asking us for us to make nominations and then to send one nominee down, or if they're telling us to nominate a whole bunch of people and then send them all down. It's still very unclear. So to me, I just want to clarify it and just simplify it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else? Please use raise hand feature to, is there anybody else who'd like to discuss? Floor is open. Moving forward, we're going to go ahead and put it for a vote. The motion is to consolidate to one. Consolidate to one award that's submitted by the NPU instead of the two. All right.
And my motion was based on the number of yeses for that particular.
Okay. Based on the number of yeses. So
Yes.
essentially, since it was overwhelming
Exactly.
majority for Lakewood, 1800 Lakewood, then essentially we will just submit that. I will open up the floor, or I am going to close out the discussion and we can move to a vote. Those who are in favor of submitting the one because of majority, overwhelming majority, please raise your hand at this time.
Oh, crap. I can't get back to the meeting. To my vote. Wait a minute. Hold on. Raised hand.
Are you muted?
No. Tina's raising her hand.
Okay, we have Tina has raised her hand as well. We're going to close it in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we have 3.
I think you may have a fourth in the chat.
Oh. Yep, got a 4th in the chat. Those who are not, who would like to submit both, and instead of doing one as a majority, then please raise your hand at this time who wants to submit both applications. Closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. Those who wish to abstain. So if those who wish to abstain, please raise your hand at this time. Four, 5, 5. 4, 5, 5. Motion, we will submit both. Moving forward. All right, let's move forward. We are going to move forward into the other matters. So matters for reviewing comments. Matters for reviewing comments. There is one matter. Aaron, could you speak to this? It's the LOR 21-1 where applicant seeks to reinstate 2 historical lots of record. I think, Paul, could you speak to this briefly? I think you know a lot about this.
He's asleep.
Paul,
Well,
you wait.
No. What question do you have?
LOR 21-1 where the applicant seeks to reinstate 2 historical lots of record. The 260 Miller Reed Avenue.
That was a South Atlanta decision. And what it basically is a subdivision of a 15,000 square foot lot into 2 7,500 square foot lots. And someone from South Atlanta should be able to speak on it.
Chris, I see Chris is here. Chris, can you speak to this?
I'm unfamiliar. To my knowledge, it was not in front of South Atlanta last meeting.
Okay. And this is not a voting matter anyway. This is for review and comment.
All right. But
Okay. Is there any discussion that I need to know? I guess I'll coordinate with you, Paul. I know we discussed it offline in our executive board meeting. We will coordinate offline and correspond with Kim and Chris to see if we need to submit anything for comment to the city. All right, moving forward, we're going to move over to 21-0-0063. So is there anybody want to speak? Anybody who wants to speak to this briefly before I give my comments to it?
It's the tree ordinance issue, right?
Yeah,
We saw that earlier, didn't we?
it was, the other one was a voting matter with zoning related. This one is ordinance. So essentially it was related. So they made an administrative, and the previous was a zoning matter to make setbacks, doing an administrative variance based on setbacks if it corresponds to preserving trees. This one is a city ordinance to essentially protect the trees. If you go into the attachment, James, really quickly.
So it's like recompense for cutting trees down and trying to avoid diminishing the tree canopy. And
Correct.
the penalties are like recompense.
Correct. So it's to preserve the tree. Aaron, are you there to give a update on this?
Yes. So like you said, that first one was specifically related to the zoning ordinance, and this one is its own, it's related to like the standalone tree ordinance. And the city has recognized that there are discrepancies in like different parts of the code, so they're trying to smooth those out. The current ordinance doesn't reflect like the latest in like science advancements. They're also considering kind of weaving in the tree ordinance program with other programs like our economic development and housing programs. It's an overhaul of the whole ordinance. I'm not super sure about really specific items, but it's a pretty general overhaul.
So yep, so essentially the purpose of this ordinance from an NPU standpoint is to, in the citywide, is to protect trees. So we're doing special permits, as we've done. We had to chop down a tree. And what happens when you do that is they take the inches of the diameter of the tree and you measure, and you take that and you kind of make it's a formula to figure out the circumference, area of circumference called a critical root zone. And if you building a property that's over a certain percentage of that critical root zone, that area, then you have to make note of it in special permitting and so forth. So this is a renovation to those ordinances to make sure that we, as folks like me who may have a special permit, adhere to the preservation of this tree. Monique, did you have anything to say?
Not to this particular review committee, but I would like to actually make a motion to table the rest of the agenda because we are over. The presentations, I just went through the agenda. We are over, we are at time. So motion.
So the people who are presenting,
yes.
Are you willing to come back in that?
Unfortunately, the survey that I was going to present tonight is only up for the rest of this week. We've sent it out. We're trying to make sure that all NPUs have been made aware, and I mean, it's a citywide agenda for police reform, and there will be more community engagement going forward.
Okay. So with that said, for the second, Carter, we did mention this in
That's right.
previous NPUs as well. So I'm allow you to speak, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, it's
Hold
only
on,
30 seconds.
but she did motion, so I'd like to get since it's time sensitive, I would like to get a motion to extend by 5.
We still have my active motion on the table with a second.
Okay, can I get it? Okay. Well,
So
let's
we
get a
have
vote.
to play this motion out because it is on the
Correct.
table.
That is correct. I'm gonna keep it open for discussion briefly. For the other presenters, is it time sensitive?
Yes.
So what's the time sensitivity? Could you briefly explain?
Okay, so good evening, everyone. This is
Good evening.
Sashi. I'm seeking to construct a new accessory dwelling unit in the rear yard of the existing single-family resident while maintaining the required setback. I sent the images. Can you pull that up for me, please?
Is that-
I might add, Dr. Nunley, our audience is diminished by half as well.
So is it possible, because I know you say you're trying to do a setback, have you presented to the neighborhood?
So with this, we're maintaining the required setback. So if you yeah. So are you able to? Thank you. Okay, as you see the existing structure right there, which in the front where the blue lines are at, then as you continue to look where that X is at, that's where the existing guest house. So I will be demolishing that existing guest house. It has water damage, and I will be adding a new ADU. So within the existing lot size, which is the 13,068, from that 829 square foot, that's from the existing, will leave us more than enough buildable room to do the ADU at the 750 square foot max.
Again, I just want to go point for clarification. We need to table that. We don't have the time to adequately provide support in this moment at 9:18. This is definitely going to push us into 9:40, 10 o'clock tonight. So unless I want to still there's a motion on the table. Can we vote on it?
Troy, the latter one is in Lakewood Heights, and we've not seen this.
I was just gonna say that.
The latter one is not is Lakewood Heights, and we have yet to, this is the first time seeing it.
Okay. I'm gonna move forward. Motion, there was a motion and seconded, so we're gonna close discussion. I would like to solicit a vote to be able to go through with that motion. So the motion on the floor is to table the discussions.
I see.
And seconded. However, in that case, the time sensitive piece would be we'll have to figure out something with that.
Dr. Nunley, can I suggest that if she goes to Lakewood and we approve, that we can get an approval from you all based on our approval? Could we do that now?
We're going to continue with the motion. We're going to continue with the motion on the floor briefly, and then we'll come back to that. So the motion on the floor is to table items till next meeting.
I can say Mr.
So
Jackson
we,
is not present. So one is already gone from that group of presenters. Mr. Jackson is not present.
Okay. So I am going to open up the floor for a vote. Those who wish to table to next meeting, please raise your hand at this time.
Hey, why are you not doing this?
Are you tabling?
I'm talking to this thing. I'm not. I really only cared about that man. That bullshit.
What'd you say, Tina?
What?
All right, so we have eight. I'm going to clear. For those who wish to not table or stay in the meeting, please raise your hand at this time. One. Those who abstain, please raise your hand at this time.
Sorry, I don't know what we were voting on.
We motion to abstain. I mean, motion to
Table.
to table the presentations. And what we'll do is, if it passes, what we'll do as a NPU is make sure the presentations go first from last, the previous month. So that way you will be the first person with the highest number of members.
But Dr. Lee, I had another suggestion for the time sensitive one. If she comes before Lakewood and there's an approval, generally the NPU defers. That would avoid her time sensitive item having to wait to come back before the
correct
NPU. So I would like to motion that again, that the body approves the presentation at Lakewood. And if it turns out that Lakewood is in approval, there's no need to come back
Okay.
before the NPU.
So the motion is, what was the motion count, James? We're at 8. What was the motion?
8 to table.
8 0 0, or was it? Or do we have anybody who was against? Yeah, I think we had one against.
I'd like to ask a question.
801, Mr.
801. Thank you. 801. So moving forward, so the motion was to table the presentations. Gloria now has to add another motion.
That the hilltop address that is saying that it is time sensitive has not appeared before Lakewood, but in order to not inconvenience and or create an impediment on that particular request, that she come before Lakewood. If Lakewood agrees, then the NPU will defer to that judgment and not require a subsequent visit to the NPU.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why that's a tough one. It's because we haven't received a official application from the city. And with that being said, since we haven't really received this official application and that where they attend the NPU, then anything could be added until we get an official application from the city. So I don't feel comfortable making a vote because they can easily just change the application if we haven't gotten anything from the city yet.
But the general policies, you defer to the community.
No, it's not.
What's not?
They have to have an application.
They gotta have an application.
For us
I
to
don't
really
feel comfortable
consider
as
it.
chair to allow that to happen.
My-
I'd be liable for that.
My
My
assumption is this was just a presentation, and when she was asking for a vote.
Well,
Yeah,
that's fine.
so
Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
presentation should have been given to Lakewood first. And the only reason she's running out of time is that this person doesn't know how to properly present this. And we should not in any way.
Chairman, may I speak?
please go ahead.
Hi, this is Sashi speaking. I've been corresponding with, hold on, Mr. James Holmes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Mr. James, hi, how are you doing? Yes, so I've been in correspondence with him for the past few weeks. He is aware that I'm getting funding from Invest Atlanta. So tonight I was coming to get approval just to move forward with the funding. I will have to come back later on when I send my application in with City of Atlanta for my permits.
Yeah, well, that's when you ought to do it.
Mr. James, can you please express to him why I'm on here tonight? I've been here for almost 2.5 hours. Can you please express to him that?
James, please go ahead.
So it was added to the agenda by the city for a presentation, as was stated. So the city of Atlanta approved it this way, and so it was added to the agenda for the presentation.
So I wonder why we did it. Okay, so why was it added as a I wasn't totally aware that we needed approval. I did read the correspondence, Sasha. We usually don't vote for items that's in presentation. It will be underneath new business if we were to get a vote from the body.
Wow.
Are you
We
okay with coming
motion
back?
for the application to move forward without a vote?
Well, I think she needs a vote in order to get approval of Invest Atlanta or voter support of sort, right? Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so
Essentially, she's asking for a variance, isn't she? Which is a city.
So we're gonna have to. We apologize for this. We didn't. It seems like we didn't do our. We didn't thoroughly read through it as an executive team. That's partly my fault because I would have saw that we would have to move this out of the presentations and move into a different area of the agenda. And the motion that just occurred by Monique and passed was to table the presentations. So with that being said, yeah, Sasha, we're gonna have to talk offline. I don't think that we'll be able to be prepared right now. I don't even think we have quorum at this point, but I don't think we're prepared right now to make a vote as an NPU. And like I said, that's my apologies.
But Troy, anything we can do in Lakewood to help you, we're more than willing to convene.
I think as Paul mentioned, as you mentioned, I think the best alternative here is that she goes to Lakewood, speak to the Lakewood community, because usually as NPU, as you know, as you mentioned, we typically defer if the person hasn't spoke to the Lakewood, and it was an oversight on our part to let her know that because she has been corresponding with us, but we thought it was just a presentation. We didn't know it was a voting guide. So we asked to go ahead and go to Lakewood and go to Lakewood before a vote and then just bring it back to the NPU structure. Our preference, if you can, is to see if you can go ahead and get the variance in with the city so that way we can just bundle it all together. You can go to Lakewood with the variance and vote from Invest Atlanta, and that way we'll just do it all in one vote.
Did they require a vote from the NPU in order for Invest Atlanta to move forward? Was that one of the requirements?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Is there a deadline to the Invest Atlanta application?
No, so how it works, I have to have all my ducks in a row. So they sent me off a checklist and this was on that checklist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, is our apologies. We have delayed you a month. And our apologies for that. Moving forward, I think that's it. Any announcements before we close out?
Your wife has left you because it's well past everybody's
she's gonna cuss me out. I'm still at the office.
Your door may be locked.
Y'all put me in the doghouse. All right. Is there any announcements?
I have an announcement, if I may speak. I don't know if can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is Shantae from Iwi Fresh Farm Oasis. We're located inside the Ali at Lakewood building. Hey. I know there are quite a few familiar faces on here. I put this in the chat because I know we're a little over time, so I'm going to make it brief. We are hosting our first Earth Day and Community Day at Iwi Fresh Farm Oasis, and that's going to be this week. So this Thursday, there's an event that we're hosting to really help the community create upcycled flower vases. It is free for Lakewood Heights community members. It's $10 for anyone else. On Saturday, we're having our full-fledged community day where many of the practitioners will offer services such as sound therapy. There's a yoga instructor that'll be there as well. We have a few activities planned. There's also going to be food trucks in the parking lot, a lemonade stand, a number of things for the community. That particular day with the activities is $25 for participants. And again, it is free for Lakewood Heights residents. There's a flyer associated with the event that I posted the link to our Instagram page inside of the chat. I also listed the information in the Lakewood Heights next door, so you can find it there. And I
She
We
froze
lost
there.
sound.
Lost her. All right, move
Earth
forward.
Day-
There's
Earth Day is the 22nd. Carla has great participation for which we have to register for that Saturday where you can get rid of stuff you can't normally get rid of, like paint, old paint, tires. So that's a good opportunity to piggyback on Carla's funding that part of the charm. So again, Earth Day is the 22nd, but the Saturday is the big event. Chris 180 is going to combine forces with Lakewood and do some cleanup and try to take advantage of stuff you can't normally recycle for free. So that's, I think Cheryl gave a bit of that, but anybody want to know more, just reach out to Carla.
Okay, motion to adjourn is 9:32.
Yep.
9:32. Is there Adrian? I know you on the line. I know you usually do more school of medicine. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It has a fish. Go ahead, Adrian. Go ahead, Adrian.
So, no, I was just gonna say that I mailed you my announcements, and I appreciate if you just share those with the body.
Okay, we'll do.
Thanks.
All right. So with that being said, we will go ahead and adjourn if there's no objections.
Just got to get the aye by voice vote. You got to just ask for.
Okay,
aye.
we'll do.
Yes.
All that in favor.
Yes. Yeah.
All that in
Good night,
favor.
everyone.
Good night.
Troy, we have a back door. We have an outdoor shed. Should you not be able to get into your house?
Yeah. Luckily, I got a man cave. Luckily, I got a man cave. I got a luxury man cave. So.
Bye, everybody. Good night.
Good night. I'm gonna leave the floor open for 5 more minutes. If anybody want to chat after.
Boy is getting you in trouble.
And remember, you guys, she was the one that we motioned to shut it off, and he just ignored it. Oh boy!
You're too funny.
God.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night.
Is there anybody else? I think that's everybody. All right. Talk to you later. See you, Paul.